Hey guys, welcome back to the channel where this time we're going to be doing another character review and analysis, this time an expanded universe character, Darth Talon. Now, Darth Talon by design alone is one of the coolest characters in all of Star Wars, especially on the Sith side of things. I mean, she's obviously very heavily inspired by Darth Maul with the tattoos, but I mean, it's cool. Like Darth Talon first appeared in the Star Wars Legacy comics. It's a timeline that unfortunately has been rendered quote unquote not canon by the powers that be at Disney, but the expanded universe lives on in many fans' hearts. So the expanded universe, as far as I'm concerned, is just as canon as anything else. Um, so we're going to talk about Darth Talon. She is absolutely ruthless. She serves the Dark Lord of the Sith at that time period, Darth Krayt, as one of his hands. She unquestionably follows orders and is actually willing to die at any moment for the cause of the Sith. This is someone who was essentially born and raised on Korriban and has known nothing but the ways of the dark side her entire life. And I think that's really awesome, especially with how her story arc plays out, where she is constantly following orders. She's constantly serving Darth Krayt all the way up until his defeat. In which case, there is no redemption for her. She goes into hiding to continue the ways of the Sith on her own and begin to forge a new path. And I think it's very important for Star Wars to have characters that aren't redeemable. Yes, the story of the redemption of Darth Vader and Anakin Skywalker is the core central story of Star Wars. Forgiveness, redemption, these are all very important themes that are prevalent in many Star Wars projects. But in any universe, just as in the real world, you do have these individuals that are simply evil and not redeemable. And I think that's a good thing. And I think that's one of her character's strongest traits. I mean, obviously, kind of like Darth Maul, she is visibly evil. You look at her and you know she's a bad guy, right? Um, she is very skilled. She's very proficient. She was actually tasked with the capture and training of Cade Skywalker, son of Luke, in the expanded universe, and tasked with bringing him to the dark side of the Force. Though she would ultimately fail this task, that really shows the amount of faith and trust that a powerful Sith Lord such as Krayt would put in one of his hands. Um, and he had a ton of faith in Talon. She was constantly tasked with many, many excruciating missions because, again, she does not fear death. She does not fear failure. Her only goal is loyalty to the Sith, loyalty to Krayt, and ultimately loyalty to herself. She does have selfish tendencies, which I think kind of show when, after the defeat of Krayt, um, there is a sort of call to action by Darth Nil to kind of bring the Sith back out, but she kind of goes on her own path, looks for her own way to keep the Sith legacy going, which I think is really cool. I like that her character wasn't definitively killed off, wasn't redeemed, was kind of left open ended. I do think they intended to tell more stories with her. Time will tell if they are able to continue to do that because I think we would love to see more of this character and what her ultimate end game would have been in that timeline. One thing I thought was really interesting was that in the original George Lucas drafts of the sequel trilogy, it is alleged that her and Darth Maul were slated to be the main antagonists of those films. So they would have essentially brought her back into canon, but in a different timeline, with a whole different backstory. Which, as cool as it would have been to see that and to see that character on the big screen, it would have simply been Darth Talon in name alone because her storyline and her backstory would have been totally changed just to make it make sense. Um, that's not a good thing, but who knows? I really hope they do bring the character back for something. One of my favorite expanded universe characters. Just a really cool Sith design, and it works really well. So yeah, we're gonna give Darth Talon an 8.5 out of 10. I absolutely love her character. I think the Star Wars Legacy series is phenomenal and is worth checking out by any avid Star Wars fan. Even if you're not familiar with the expanded universe, just dive into it. It's going to get you interested. It's going to get you interested in these characters and this time period and how everything was very well thought out and put together. But yeah, Darth Talon, 8.5 out of 10. And that's going to be it for this video. I appreciate you watching. If you're not subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our content. And as always, may the Force be with you. Now let's blow up that like button and go home.